I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is Dasha Maggio. She is Co-Chief Operating Officer at Felicis Ventures. Dasha, it is wonderful to have you here. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
So now, Dasha, let's start off by talking about Felicis Ventures. Tell me about it.
So Felicis has been around since 2006. We're an early stage venture capital investor. Our mission is to curate the highest density of iconic companies in the world into our portfolios. We have been very fortunate to partner with amazing companies like Shopify, which is in the NYSE family,
Yes.
Ginkgo Bioworks, same. We've captured over 220 billion in market value since inception and over 100 billion in exit market value captured. Our tagline is success with empathy. So the North Star is really supporting founders on the journey of company building.
Now, that's amazing. So founded 2006 and almost 50 companies valued at $1 billion or more.
That's right.
That's quite amazing. So now you have a founder pledge, Dasha. Tell me about it and tell me why you launched it.
Sure. So today, founders have so many different sources where they can get capital, right? There are many different venture capital investors. And so it's really important as a firm like Felicis to communicate what you stand for beyond just capital. What do you value? And back in 2017, I started to notice something very interesting happening in the world of professional sports. NBA teams, NFL teams were bringing on sports psychologists and mindset coaches because they realized that the inner game of the sport is really, really important to support their athletes on. And when I started talking to founders, startup founders, I realized that startup building, scaling these hyper growth companies is really not that different than a high performance sport. So it's grueling, it's lonely, it's stressful, there's a lot of pressure. And again, our North Star is empathy for founders. And so we saw an amazing opportunity to really invest in the people building these companies, not just the companies themselves. And the impact has been amazing so far. And so the pledge is our commitment that on top of every first check that we write, we add 1% in non-dilutive capital, so coming out of our operating budget, for founders of those companies to spend on their own development. So think executive coaching, therapy, leadership development, really anything that's going to help them weather the highs and lows of company building and support their mental and emotional health on the journey.
Okay. So now more than 50 founders have benefited from the Founder Pledge since you launched it. Now, tell me about some of these founders and how are they using this resource?
So, as I said, Felicis, we invest all over the world, across stages, across geographies. So, as far as Sydney, Australia, where Canva is based, they're reimagining how the world designs. In the Netherlands, Adyen, a global payments company. So the founders in our portfolio they're from every walk of life, right? They're very different, they're individuals. And the impact of the pledge has varied. There's big impact and there's small impact. Obviously, development in this way is highly personal. And so when we launched this initiative, we always knew that there would be these personal stories that we would never fully know. And that's okay. We did it because it was the right thing to do. But there are some themes that I've noticed over the years. So, for example, some CEOs, once they experience the power of executive coaching, they have such a meaningful, transformative experience that they decide to offer coaching to all of their executives, or even in some cases to the whole company. So sort of this beautiful trickle-down effect. In other cases, founders who have leveraged the program have stayed together with their co-founders, right? They've managed through really difficult conflict, and ultimately, that's enabled them to stay in their leadership roles longer and scale ahead of the company and what it needed.
All right, now, in your experience, Dasha, tell me, how does investing in a founder's well-being translate to the operational success of their company?
In my opinion, it's unquestionable that when a founder invests in him or herself, and by extension, when we support them in doing that, that this translates to business success, right? If you think about the stages of companies that we back, from the two people on a napkin stage all the way through to hopefully being here at the NYSE, and the types of companies that we back, right? They're hyper scaling, they're growing and changing rapidly. Founders of those businesses are the greatest points of leverage for the company, right? And so it makes sense that anything that can help them be the very best that they can be is going to translate to supporting the business. And so in my experience, founders who invest in their own development are more clear-minded, they make better decisions faster, they build stronger relationships with executives and people who need to be with them on the journey, right? All of this is essential to translating to operating success. And actually Shopify, Toby, the CEO, and Harley, now president, have been very outspoken over the years about the impact that coaching has had on them. They have both tweeted and talked about publicly how it's helped them be better leaders, but also helped Shopify as an organization, operate better. And they actually insourced a coaching team into the company pretty early on. So I think it's, again, there are so many variables that go into determining whether a company ultimately succeeds or fails, however you define that. But in my opinion, this is only upside, intentionally supporting your own growth and development as an entrepreneur.
Well, Dasha, it's been wonderful to talk with you. Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thank you.